The part 2 to what happens next, part 1 down below. I thought about it and I'm not going to sit back and let her bully me into letting her do whatever she wants, especially in my house. Her name is not even on the loan for the house because of her past credit history. I think that at some point, it will cause her to look back and understand just how strong I am, and it might just be too late when she comes to that realization. It will begin tomorrow with a call to our cell phone provider to split our accounts. Then I will make the calls. I'm okay with losing my wife or home if it means maintaining my dignity and self-respect. She got furious that I made the phone calls, told me I could take care of the house. I'm cool with that. I couldn't take her cheating on me in my own house. Says her dad will be coming on set for what I don't know. I'm not really worried about that. I get my house back. Whatever happens after that happens. While I am still not for certain that it's all over, I'm extremely worried about her because she says that regardless of what our pastor says and what the Bible teaches, she's going to do what she wants anyway. Our pastor asked about the guys she's been talking to and she says they are just meeting her emotional needs. He told her that regardless of whether or not she wants to be married, she still is, and that's not right. She told him she would stop but told me she wasn't going to. I will continue to the next phase. I made calls and she's mad. Said she would be moving out next week and that I could have the house. Funny thing is her father and stepmom are on my side and she doesn't know it. She's still texting me today in an uproar. Is it good for her to be this mad? I got served the divorce papers today and I'm beginning to think that it really is over. My wife told her dad that my making the phone calls a few days ago is really what did it for her. But as I think now about it, wasn't it already over? I know that the papers don't really have to be signed right away, and that I still have a little time, but she just seems so comfortable and at peace with this. I did find out something that was troubling and encouraging all at once. She told me she called the OM to give him a heads up that I would be calling. She knew because I'd call yet another guy who called her, because the people she wanted in her life needed to be warned. Understand that she's been talking to several different guys and I called them all. It was troubling because this revealed an emotional connection, but encouraging because she later tried to say there wasn't a connection, continuing with the lies and increasing my suspicion of the fog. Maybe I'm holding on to a sense of false hope, or maybe I'm not. As my next step is the carrot and stick, I've studied all the information and have a much better idea of who I am and where mistakes were made. I guess my question is how I carry this out in a way where she might notice, or I am looking at it in the wrong perspective. Obviously, my desire at this point is to save my marriage, but I also am aware that the changes I make will have great benefits in the long run for me. I do want to move on and get on with my life, but I am so emotionally messed up. Some days are good, but others are not so good. I just want this all to be over. I know that if our relationship was to change for the better, it's going to take time. I just have to learn to put her out of my mind, focus on my faith in myself and press on. It's just easier said than done. She says that it was not a decision made in haste, but that she's been considering it for years. She had brought it up before in years past, but things always seem to get back on track. While I will say that I've never really met all of her expectations, I have changed a lot of the things Vi done. It just always seemed that if I made a concession, it was never enough. She would always find a way to find something wrong with what I've done. Obviously, she has her issues that will have to be addressed if reconciliation were to take place, but I still love her, flaws and all. I don't know what tomorrow will bring as far as my emotions, but I know that I've got to do something different. I like your reply regarding her stumbling across my changes, as I've been so focused on getting her back that I'd lost the overall idea of the carrot and stick, which is getting myself to a place where I know I should be, creating some lasting changes. I will and I must. About the divorce process, how long do I have before I have to sign? When do we have to go to court? Can I tell the judge I don't want this? Will they make us go to counseling? I want to fight this all the way to the end. If this is really what she wants, I want to make her earn it. Already has the support I've received been overwhelming. Oddly enough, some has even come from her family. Some of her family even feel like me and that she'll get tired and want to come back at some point. While, at this point, this is a great desire of mine, I don't know just how receptive I will be when that happens. On another note, my daughter and I have had the best time we've had in a long time over the last 5 days she's been staying with me. I'd not taken much time over the years to enjoy her as I should, and it's been great. This, I believe, is part of the change that has needed to take place, and I'm loving it. In the back of my mind, though, it would be nice if her mother could see it. I'll continue on and pray that our family can remain intact, but I will also continue to change. God knows I need to. My wife's dad came over this weekend and told me that if my desire was to fight for my marriage, I was going about it the wrong way. He was referencing the phone calls I'd made to the OM earlier in the week. That really made her mad and she quickly called her dad. I told him about some of the things she had been doing, and he said that without proof, it is only speculation. I then looked him in the eyes and told him firmly that I have proof. He was quiet and didn't say much after that, continuing to try to support her. While I regret it now, I should have pulled out my proof to show him right then and there, but I didn't really want to put things out there like that. Obviously, she has made me seem like the bad guy, as you all said she would. My question to you all is, since he doesn't seem to believe me, should I send him proof so that he can have a clear understanding of what I've been talking about? Without it, I don't think he will ever address her in the manner necessary to get her to wake up. I'm fully aware of the facts that he may still choose to do nothing and that she may still, even if he says something, choose to continue. When he left, I just felt he thought I was either stretching the truth or simply making it up. He even, in talking to our pastor, whom he knows pretty well, made excuses for her, mainly, I believe, because he only got a one-sided story from her. It may not turn out the way I hope, but I know, having been a part of this family for the last 11 years, that her dad has great influence in her. If he knew just half of what I know, I believe he'd blow a gasket. I just really want him to understand the full magnitude of what I've been dealing with. I don't believe that her mother's knowledge of the evidence will have as much effect on her since they've had such a rocky relationship, but her and her dad are different. I think I will put the package together tomorrow and send. What can it hurt? I already look like the bad guy. My father-in-law's wife of 30 years, who has been my confidant throughout all this, says it would be useless to disclose anything to him. She says he has always been somewhat of an advocate of wrong by teaching that it's not wrong unless you get caught. She also said that he'd been unfaithful to her before, so him saying anything to his daughter would serve to also condemn his action, and he doesn't want to do that. I'm still leaning towards sending the info anyway for my own sanity and credibility. Do I think anything will happen as a result of it? Probably not, but it would do wonders for me knowing that I've not withheld anything. Still debating on sending father-in-law the proof I have, since I know it won't do any good. But yesterday, wife called saying she wanted to talk. It was about the required parenting class for those divorcing children. She said she'd gone and wanted to agree on what we'll do as far as our daughter is concerned. She said she no longer wanted to argue and that she'd put aside much of her anger for our daughter. As she talked, she seemed so content with her decision to move on. I know I'm not supposed to be so concerned about getting her back at this point, but seeing her discuss this in such a calm manner really makes me doubt a reconciliation is possible. She talked about us both still being present at her events and about having family dinners with just the three of us. She said that I shouldn't misconstrue her message by thinking that she still loved me. This was all for our daughter's sake. I didn't say anything afterward. I just kissed my daughter and left. I took a few things from this. She is either highly consumed by this fog or she really just wants to move on. I don't know which. I do know that the arrangements she discussed will give me the chances to show her my changes up front. I still haven't signed the papers yet, as I plan to drag this on as long as I can. I do know a guy from the dating website whom she had gotten somewhat attached to told her to lose his information as he thought she was divorced. It's funny because she finally filed almost a month after she said she had already done so, but it was only after someone she was involved with found out the truth and bailed. Another lie emerges as she stated she was upfront with him and had told him she was still married but separated. She is still chatting with all kinds of guys through this website. I didn't say anything to her, but I so want this to work out. Her act, if that's what it is pretty convincing, but everything in me says to not lose hope. My pastor gave me a different perspective, as did the counselor I've been working with for my marriage issues. These family gatherings may be my opportunity to show her any changes I've made as well as those she's been asking for. He said the fact that she has decided to put away some of her anger may be God's way of beginning to soften her heart in order to begin the process of healing, and that it's a way where she can say she does still care and want me in her life without saying it. There are things I can do in these instances to show off the changed person I am and will be with or without her. Understand that I know this may or may not be the case, but it's worth a shot. I'm thinking in terms of the love that I can actually display without her participation. Many of them I realized I'd done before and can commit to doing them again, such as taking more pride in appearance. Keep in mind that I've never let myself go or practiced bad hygiene. I just didn't make much effort to look nice like I used to. That can change now. There are many others. While I still find it hard to believe, I'm really starting to think there is little to no chance of reconciliation. She seems too sure about it, as I found out she has signed up for yet another dating site. This one is an interracial dating site. She says I just need to accept the fact that she's done and move on. I want to believe that I should still fight to the end, but what good will come of it? My fighting, regardless of whether it's simply working on me or trying to prolong the divorce process, seems to bring more hurt to me than anything else. She got bothered yesterday by being confronted by our family friend about her infidelity, and angrily yelled at her and me that it doesn't matter what anyone thinks. She said she's a grown woman and can do whatever she feels like doing. She said she'd lied to me about everything because she didn't want me to hurt. That, to me, seems a little odd. Just 3 months ago, we started planning for our second child. Part of me feels that she has simply checked out, wants to take control of her life and move on. Part of me feels it is this fog and that she'll come out at some point. I've already began to make my changes and will continue to do so. I want this hurt to go away. I want my family back. I want to show her I can and will change. Unfortunately, these changes may have come too late to save our marriage. She just doesn't seem to have much of a conscience about her infidelity, about dating while she's still married, or anything else. She says she doesn't want another relationship, but her new profile says she's looking for long-term. I may just need to concede to the fact that she's gone and move on, but that's easier said than done. I found it odd for her to say that she didn't care, but yet she was so mad about it. The funny thing about it was she called after she got the call. She expressed her anger towards me again later on in another phone call. But it doesn't bother her, right? I didn't think that was the case at all. Concerning my willingness to fight, I really wasn't meaning that I would stop doing what I know to be right. I was really saying, should I continue to fight for her and my family, thinking that it wouldn't make a difference. My Phil's wife, one of my sounding boards who is also appalled by my wife's action, says there is nothing wrong with you fighting, especially since it's for my wife and family. She also feels as I do about being rewarded in one way or another for my willingness to fight, for my persistence, and just for not giving up. Her reason for doing wrong and the fact that she tries to hide and cover up her actions tells me that she is not acting or thinking very rationally or clearly at all, but I already knew that. To me, it's much like the behavior of a child. She even shot me a finger the other day. I hadn't done or seen it done in forever, so I just kind of laughed. What made me think it was actually over was her starting yet another profile she doesn't know I know about. If all of what she said were true, that she wasn't looking for someone, that she just wanted to be by herself, and all the other stuff, then why not one but two dating sites? Someone, in my opinion, who simply wanted out of a bad relationship and was thinking rationally, would not be doing what she's doing. She even went as far last night as saying that in 7 years, the only thing I've done for our daughter is buy 2 pairs of shoes, and that is simply not possible. So last night I went out and played some pool and sang some karaoke. Had a good time even though thoughts of wife were there. This morning, I get a call from her, but I decided I didn't want to talk to her. She left a message stating she needed daughter's dance shoes since I had them last weekend. I text back that I would drop them off at dance studio. She calls again within 5 minutes, but still I didn't answer. I text back asking what's up. She texts for me to answer phone. Finally, I do, and she says that I should answer phone because her calls were only concerning daughter. I said I told you I was dropping off shoes, so what more is there? She says daughter decided she didn't want to dance today, but I told her she couldn't texted that to me. She then started talking about how I was being rude for not answering phone. She talks about not caring about where I'm living and all this kind of stuff. Then talks about me taking required parenting class, and I told her I would. I still have 13 days before I have to sign up, so I'm not in a hurry. It actually felt good. Do I still love her? Yes, very much so. I just want to limit our contact as much as possible, and in some sense do the 180, I guess. Still got a long ways to go. I still think she cares, even though she tells herself and me something different, or she wouldn't have gotten agitated by me not answering my phone. I was surprised to see wife at church yesterday. She came looking really good, I must say. But I kept with my plan of keeping my space and did not pursue her, and only spoke regarding some mail she had for me. I find it somewhat odd that she still came, because I would have thought someone who wanted to do nothing with me and was done would not voluntarily come to same place. I still stuck to my guns. I haven't really talked with her for several days, and at this point it doesn't seem to bother her. Reality is starting to set in, as I will be spending Thanksgiving away from her and daughter for first time in 11 years. It will be rough, but I'll get through it. An update. Things haven't really changed a lot other than my more committed approach to me and my improvement. I've had several difficult days, but I'm still here. Wife has been pretty unresponsive to her cousin, who addressed her as non-confrontational as possible. She admitted several things but quickly cut the conversation when her cousin stated that her actions were not proper for a married woman. Wife then refused to accept any calls for days. Wife called her back days later, leaving a message about how she had not had time to think and how could she believe anything I told her. All this was done while crying into the phone. We are still not communicating, although she has gotten bothered by my unwillingness to allow her to control everything, as well as my lack of contact with her. I will continue to try and wait out the storm for a little while longer, and also continue to work on myself. Also, my wife has done some kind of weird things in the last few days, at least in my eyes. She has told me she doesn't care about what happens to me, yet she calls to inquire about an issue I have with my car. She says she no longer cares what I do, but then she wants to ask about what I'm doing and where I've been hanging out. She says she doesn't want to be around me, but yet she still comes to the same church, although we don't really communicate. She also decided to rejoin the bowling team we've been a part of for the last 2 years. Keep in mind that all this has been done over the last 4 to 5 days. Is this normal for a woman who is done and no longer wants a relationship with her, or am I starting to affect her? I just thought all these things were kind of peculiar. The 30th day after being served e-papers is Monday. My birthday is Tuesday. What a present, huh? Not any major changes other than the fact that I am completely committed to not giving up. I know there is not much else I can do. I have had some really difficult days. I've considered reproaching mother-in-law, who has told another relative she doesn't believe my accusations. I don't know if it will do any good, because I found out she's been inquiring to therapists at her job about my likelihood of getting over my porn problem and totally overlooking her daughter's activities. I really think the best thing for me to right now is just worry about what I can control, me. At this point, divine intervention is the only thing that might save my family and my marriage. I won't stop believing that a reconciliation is possible until all is said and done. It's just so bothersome that there are members of her family who know of her activities and disagree with because they are wrong, but they won't say anything. They feel that only her mother or father should say something. I think that's sad. I've been so hesitant to completely reveal everything. The little I have revealed hasn't done much but make her mad. I'm wondering if it would be too late to do something since our court date will probably be set soon since I'm not signing papers. But again, I know her mother hasn't said anything about the things I revealed to her because my wife hadn't called me about it, and I know she would. A woman told me to be careful in doing a complete exposure because she feels it would hurt more than help and that she could become extremely more vindictive as it pertains to the divorce. But the more I think about it, what do I really have to lose? I just feel like if her mother knew everything, she would have to say something, but I also know that her mother is different and finds it difficult to address wrong in her children, specifically her daughter whom she doesn't have the best relationship with. I'm torn with what to do. My wife tried to hit me last night. I went over to pick up daughter and she asked why I hadn't submitted divorce papers yet. I just told her that I didn't want the divorce. She said that she stopped loving me years ago and that I didn't have to make it this hard. She said to just give her what she wants so she can be free to do what she wants and free from me. I just told her she filed the divorce and I have the right to contest it. She then swung at me but I blocked it. All this with our daughter in the car a few feet away. Don't think she saw it though. Is this typical of someone in the fog, or should I just throw in the towel, give her the quick divorce and move on? I still have a lot of fight in me and I'm not really ready to give up yet. She wants control of everything and I'm not letting her. She so wants to convince everyone that she no longer wants to be with me and has made look like such an awful person by giving very one-sided accounts of our relationship and not revealing her issues or recent activities. I don't expect her to. She even called our pastor today asking him to tell me that I needed to give her the divorce she wanted and just leave her alone. Keep in mind I haven't texted her, called her, or pursued her for at least 2 weeks. When she voluntarily returned to our bowling team and spent the entire evening texting, I never questioned her nor did I act as if it bothered me. I dressed nice and just bowled and even left before she did, as if I had somewhere to go, even though I didn't. I think my not reacting to her texting, whom I'm sure was another guy, bothered her more than she wants me to believe. I just don't believe she is as disconnected from me as she wants people to believe, which is evident to me by her outbursts. Wouldn't she be more unconcerned if she was totally done? I will continue my course and deal with whatever the result. She wants me to concede, but I want to fight, and that's what I'm going to do. In reading the Indiana laws for contested divorces, it says judge will still make ruling within the allotted 60-day period. I don't have the money for lawyers, so I'm at discretion of the courts. I will have to present some very good reasons as to why I feel marriage is worth saving. Oddly enough, her cousin feels as if her infidelity may work in my favor because I'm willing to try to work on the relationship even in spite of it. Well, I know I can't count on that. The only thing that I can do is hope and pray for divine intervention and be ready for whatever the result. I'm not going to stray from my path of self-improvement, nor will I stray from the 180 that I've been doing. Whatever will be will be. Wife called our pastor yesterday asking him to tell me to leave her alone and that she was going to file restraining order against me. This further proves how mentally not there she is. I haven't contacted her since Thanksgiving, nor have I done anything to make her think I would harm her, nor have I ever. She's the one that threw water in my face when I confronted her about her activities. She's the one that tried to hit me with our daughter a few feet away. The problem is I won't let her have total control of the situation by conceding to an easy and smooth divorce. If she desires to divorce, I have the right to not want it and to fight it. Also, mother-in-law called pastor to say that I just need to back off and let things die down. She obviously doesn't know that I have not contacted her daughter since Thanksgiving. The only exchanges we've had have been about our daughter. She also stated that she didn't appreciate me leaving the very explicit information with her, and that she didn't want to know about that stuff. She didn't say that it was wrong or that it bothered her, but that she didn't want to know. Obviously, she didn't say anything to her daughter about it. Anyways, I will continue to not contact wife and will move forward with my plan for self-improvement. I do believe my lack of pursuit is bothering her more than she wants me to believe. MIL also said that her daughter isn't doing anything right now, which I'm not convinced of. But if she isn't, that's good because I will get what I wanted all along. Time for her to think about what's going on and make a clear-headed decision without outside influence. I think some of her frustration is due to having stopped the contact with other men, if she has. It's also due to me not letting her have total control of the situation. I will continue with my 180 and hope for reconciliation. If it doesn't happen, though, I will be a better man. In my wife's conversation with our pastor, she said she was going to leave the church because she couldn't stand to be around me, but she shows up tonight to bowl. I just don't know what's going through her mind. It surprised the heck out of me. Wife filed a no-fault, irretrievably broken marriage. In Indiana, with a no-fault divorce, there is nothing that can be done to stop it or contest it. From everything I've read, and I've read a lot, The only thing that can be done during a no-fault divorce is to suggest mediation or counseling. I am currently in counseling myself for my marital problems in addition to my porn issue, or shall I say, former porn issue, but she has not gone, although she said she would 2 months ago. She has a lot of things that she doesn't want to address right now, at least that's what I believe. It really is not that I don't want to do all I can to try and delay things. I just don't have the money to drag things out the way I would like. I did have a consultation with an attorney and he stated that I really didn't have to sign anything. He said I could ask the court to recommend counseling as well. Today is my birthday and it has been one of the toughest days I've had in a while. The first one without my wife or daughter waking me up with B-Day wishes, cards, etc. I'm still praying every day for a resolution and possible reconciliation, but I will keep making myself better. Decided to quit smoking today so my path to self-improvement continues. Okay, my wife, of whom I've been separated from for about 2 months, just texted wishing happy birthday. Maybe I just try to read too much into things, but every time she says something to me or texts me, she always has to add that she is not doing this because she loves me. I haven't been in pursuit of her and have been pretty much doing the 180 for the past 3 weeks. She tells everybody she can't stand to be around me because she hates me so much, but she voluntarily continues to come to places where I am. She said she would leave our church, but she still comes. She said she was done bowling on our team, but she returned 2 weeks ago. I don't understand why she is digging this. Maybe she is just trying to convince herself. I don't know. I will continue on my path of self-improvement as well as with the 180. It's all in God's hands now. So, I did something I'm extremely proud of today. On Sunday, my wife asked me to drop something off at our church so that she could pick it up, which I did. So today, she asks me to go back and get it and bring it to her. I replied that I'd already done what she asked. She said, I know, but no one was there when I went to pick it up and you have a key to the church. I haven't responded and I won't. If she doesn't want to be married to me, then she no longer gets the privileges of my wife. If she wants it, she has to go get it herself. Now she calls me at 6:45 a.m. to inquire about something to do with daughter. I answered only because I thought it was an emergency but found out it wasn't. She then calls again at 7:45, but I didn't answer this time. Her message was about a couple of different things, but damn, I won't leave her alone. The 2 phone calls could have easily been texts. Why does she have to keep calling over really trivial things? Why does she continue to call when she hates me so much? I must add that we both attended our daughter's gymnastics showcase last night. We didn't talk, but I showed up dressed really nice, like I used to when we first got together. I left promptly after my daughter's final event. I think my changes and my 180 are really getting to her. She does still seem angry, but I think some of it now is due to my moving on and the fact that I'm not groveling over her or proclaiming my love for her anymore. She also no longer is in control of everything. I'll continue on my path. I'm not quite ready to make that step right now, especially with Christmas a little more than a week away. I do think that right after Christmas, meaning the day after, would be a great time to start, though. That would put my plan 8 a month. I do believe it's starting to affect her and that I need to take it to another level, but not ready just yet. This will also give me time to figure out who that intermediary will be. I will tell you, though, that I really feel good about the personal changes I've made. I'm back, in many ways, to the person I was before I got complacent in our relationship. Deep down, I really wish that a reconcile is in the future, but I know there is a strong possibility that it isn't. For some reason, though, I feel it is more likely than not. Only time will tell. I came to the conclusion today that I'm going to stop fighting to be with someone who, at this point, doesn't want to be with me. In my opinion, she doesn't even deserve me. The woman I am seeing right now is not the woman I fell in love with. When we have our day in court, I will let her have the divorce. What I do know and believe is that one day, either sooner or later, she will regret her decision. I am a good man, although I've made mistakes. She will one day realize that, and she better hope I haven't already moved on. I am still married right now and will continue to act as such, but I will no longer fight her if this is what she wants. It will only be her loss. Had a talk with the wife today expressing my desire to move forward with giving her the divorce, stating that I deserved better, deserved to be loved, deserved someone committed to me. She followed with some other complaints that were exaggerated. I told her that I was still married and would conduct myself as a married man until I am no longer married. Darted her activities. She tells me that I can come over and celebrate Christmas with daughter and her at her apartment. That's where all the gifts are, but that it was her place and I have no right to be snooping around. Why throw that in if you are not doing anything that requires secrecy? Anyway, I'm getting more and more confident about my decision to move forward with my life because she doesn't deserve me. If she is willing to continue this behavior, but deny it to everyone, then I can do better. I wish her the best, but she will one day regret leaving me. 1. She says that she is not convinced that I was moving on, even though this is the first time I've said that I was no longer going to fight the divorce. So, I really want her to see that I am. 2. I am really starting to feel like I don't want to be married to her any longer since she wants to act this way. I won't lie and say that I don't still have feelings for her, because I do. I won't lie and say that, after the divorce is final, I won't be bothered by seeing her with someone else, because I know it will. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But I deserve better and she just may not be what I need. If she doesn't come around before we go to court in January, I feel like it will be time for me to move forward and wait for the right person to come along. I really don't have any hard feelings towards her, but I do know that she will one day hate the fact that she prematurely gave up on me and our marriage and hope for another chance. Unfortunately, it may very well be too late. Weeks later, update. I must confess that I'd given in to what everyone was telling me that I should while ignoring what my heart was telling me to do. I've decided that I'm not going to give up. That decision actually came the day after my last post. No one else is in my shoes. No one else can tell me what I should do in terms of whether or not I should continue fighting for Mr. Marriage. No one else can tell me what I really feel, so I need to stop listening to people telling me to give up and give in. I have continued to stay on my path of self-improvement and have kept contact with wife at a bare minimum. It really ticks her off that I am not there at her every beck and call. Over the last few days, I've learned a lot about myself as well as my wife. More importantly, I've learned a lot about God and His views on marriage and divorce. I've also learned that my wife finds every little thing that I do or don't do as a reason to get angry with me. Yesterday, when I stopped by her apartment to pick up daughter while her mother was babysitting, I grabbed a handful of the 200-plus DVD that we'd accumulated during our relationship since I don't have cable. She got extremely mad about that. I didn't let it bother me as I did nothing wrong unless my mistake was not asking permission to borrow what already was mine, at least partially anyway. Didn't think it would be a big deal as she knows I'm without cable, but it was. Personally, I feel like a change in our situation in near. I may be wrong, but that's how I feel, and feeling is so strong. I know one thing, I've come to realize just what it means to have unconditional love for someone. I just can't figure this out. Why is she so mad? I am the faithful spouse who has done nothing but love her. I didn't cheat. What I did do was expose her to a few people I thought would at the least express to her how wrong her actions were, but they didn't. I have stopped being at her every beck and call. I've stopped chasing her. I've stopped doing many of the things I did at the beginning, but she just continues to express anger towards me. I should be the one who's angry for all that she's done, but I'm not. It's just so crazy how all this has unfolded. My comment: she's ashamed of herself for what she's done, and she expects you to be ashamed of her, too. You aren't. You're just numb. What she really wants is for you to be chasing her, pursuing her, being angry, being motivated to get your wife back. Don't fall for it. Part 3 ending coming in a few hours. Sub and bell and prepare for the ending.